My name is Sean Paul. Last year I was diagnosed with ADHD and complex PTSD, and I scored high in autism test, so I've been seeing the team. I have loads of interests that I think naturally comes with being neurodivergent, and really enjoy things like maps, stats and facts. I love astrology and animals and plants. That's probably like my main things that I'm really interested in. The animal and plants thing fed into me pursuing a career in science, and science has always been a bit of a passion for me as well. I'm proud of how selfless I can be in situations and how much I can give to situations to help people. I think that as well I'm really proud of how much that I've achieved in my life with being undiagnosed. I'm managing to get like a degree and numerous different jobs, specialised jobs under my belt, without having any support and like medication and things like that to really help me thrive. It's something that I've only really realised about myself and begin to give myself a bit of grace about. And it's just been nice to feel proud of myself for everything that I've achieved already. I think that interviews were a huge problem for me. I struggle maintaining eye contact, which is a huge thing in interviews, and people don't, I suppose, might not take you seriously if you don't live up to that expectation of maintaining eye contact. And just the way that I might come across and speak in interviews it wasn't as smooth as I'd liked it to be. I think that as well, even just maintaining employment, going into employment, I would mask a lot, and it would make me really burnt out, which meant it was hard to maintain routines and show up and be the best version of myself in employment. When it came to employment support, I didn't have much experience with it. I knew in school and things you got career advisors and situations like that, but I also thought maybe the job centre and things were a bit more suited to that kind of about support and career, support for employment and careers. But through empowering people, I realised that there's so much more to it. There's a lot more that goes into it about having things in place to make your transition easier, having someone that can actually help you brainstorm your ideas and put everything into a nice picture for you so you can see the bigger picture. Something that I really struggle with is seeing the bigger picture. I focus on the fine details, and I think that empowering people just makes everything a lot more manageable for someone like myself. So I was at the job centre, and I'd recently just had my diagnosis of complex PTSD and ADHD. I was speaking to one of the women who my job coach at the job centre, and she forwarded me to one of the guys that work in the job centre whose role was basically being a disability advisor. He was lovely and ended up putting me on to empowering people, where I met Jodie. I think that just managing my condition in general, I think that before I got into empowering people, it was I looked at my conditions as a negative aspect, whereas speaking with Jodie, and it really made everything it made me look at everything with a more positive lens, which I think again made me be kinder to myself, and it gave me more confidence with how I was showing up at different situations. Using different strategies to help calm myself as well were huge, and implementing different procedures to help me manage how I was feeling inside and things was really a huge thing as well. I don't really deal with change, and in the environment that I was in, it was in a cafe. There was a lot of change in different orders and things like that, and I think that allowing myself to breathe and using the breathing method and taking a bit of time to think before I react was huge, and the reasonable adjustments were made for that, and as well struggle with repetitive tasks quite a lot, and the dishes were something that I was finding a bit hard, but the reasonable adjustment was just that I will do the dishes, but just not like for a prolonged period of time, which was a small adjustment that made a huge impact on how I felt even just going to work and how comfortable I felt in the environment. After about 3-4 months, I usually experience a bit of burnout in any employment I've had. But I think when it got to the 3-4 month mark, like it was actually there was something that was actually pushing me forward and wanting me to move forward and do better. And I'd never experienced that before in employment. So that was like a huge thing when I noticed it was starting to change, because I was actually just enjoying it and it was becoming second nature to me. And I still had quite a lot of energy as well, which I liked. I think that my biggest accomplishment is maintaining the employment and also maintaining like work relationships. I think that I'm a person that when I walk into a work environment, I can make friends quite easily, but I think that it kind of can fall apart just as easy. I think that I managed to maintain like work relations with all my colleagues in a quite a high standard, which I'm really proud of. It's helped me with routine hugely, because it helped me get into a good routine where I knew exactly what I was doing, and it created predictability for myself, it really helped my confidence as well, because I went into an environment that I wasn't sure about, and I did excel in it, and I done well at what I was meant to be doing, and I made new friends, and everything I did, when I look back at it, everything was really positive, and it has helped me be a better person overall. I do find talking easier. I think that before, and not that I couldn't speak, but it was just that I wasn't thinking about what I was saying, and like I would like stutter over my words and things like that and get anxious, and I think that that's changed a lot since I started working in, since I started empowering people. I've learned new skills, which I'm always searching for new skills. Like I have a thirst for knowledge, and I've never been in like a kind of cafe environment where I had to do like coffees and things like that. And I really enjoyed just picking up those skills, and even those people skills with all the regular customers and things like that helped a lot. I would say that you're worthy of meaningful employment. I would say that with the right help and support in place, like you really can flourish. It doesn't need to be like some big scary scenario. It should just be something that you should enjoy, at least to a reasonable standard. It's daunting at first, thinking about going into interviews and meeting all these new people, and you might beat yourself down about it or like count yourself out, but once you actually do push through that barrier and trusting yourself a bit more, like the rewards are lucrative and can be really beneficial for everything in your life. I think that it's to be open-minded. I think that that's into ease up on social norms, and not expecting the neurodivergent person to live up to a social norm that might not be applicable to them. And I think that just understanding the conditions of the neurodivergent people that you'll be employing, so the care and the support is there for them. I would really like to get back into my career and get career driven again. I worked in science and then I worked in pharmaceutical sales, and I enjoyed both, and I've been taking a wee break since then with empowering people and just finding my feet, and I think that's allowed me to really recuperate and get myself on the right path again, which I would like to move into some kind of science or pharmaceutical sales job in the near future, because I feel like that after all the help and support that I've received through empowering people, I'm ready. I think that it was trusting in myself, being confident, having things in place that allow me to not mask, and just overall everything allowed me to have more energy and like have more clearer thoughts and ambition with all the support that was given, and I think all that has helped me see a path to the future regarding my career, which I kind of lost sight of for like quite a few years. Yeah. I think that in previous employment, there was like a level of expectation on myself to perform to a certain standard, and this expectation helped build resentment inside for like the job that I was doing. And even when I worked as a scientist for an immunology company, when you're going through training, that it can be quite rigorous, and the feedback can be quite intense as well. And I think that like before, in those situations when I was in the science employment, that I would take some of these as personal slights, and I would internalise it all and go home and think about it, and it would just like really get me down. When really it wasn't personal, it was just that's just part and parcel of getting trained and being in a high pressure environment, I suppose. I think that through empowering people that I learned how to think before I react, and really like take time to think about how things will affect me in the next 5 minutes even, because if the reaction that I'm given doesn't suit the problem, then I'll probably end up feeling embarrassed about it later and things like that, and it just allowed me to be a lot happier, being able to take time and reflect and not completely be absorbed into a feeling in a moment.